yourself, Scott. Raise up for the pledge here. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone, for attending our March 5th, 2018 meeting. Call the order. Bill Bailey is here.
John Hodge is here.
John Cleary is out on personal business. All right, move over to the signature action minutes from the Board of Selectmen meeting, 2/26/2018.
I've had a chance to review these already. I move that the board approve the Selectmen's meeting minutes dated February 26th, 2018.
I will second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, next on the agenda is the firewood. Mr. Hoffman, would you like to talk about that?
I would like to offer my congratulations to our newest fire warden, not deputy, fire warden, Chief Bill Lawrence. Okay?
Ooh. Gonna warden the fires.
A long time ago, it was customary for the fire chief to also be the fire warden. That took place with Mike Laffey. He was chief and fire warden. We've gone through a few other fire chiefs since then, but he has remained as fire warden. And so we just got a letter from the state appointing him as the fire warden. So, congratulations. Thank you.
Yeah, congratulations. Tag, you're it.
Is that a raise in pay?
Yeah, big one.
About like this, Tony.
It looks like
Great,
this.
wow, not bad.
It's in the shape of this.
Yeah, just like that. Still not old. All right.
Thank you.
Planning board members. Is it one or two?
It's one,
Okay.
because he only gave me one name.
Okay.
That's Paul Bordeaux. Is the only one I need. Roger recommended to
Okay.
you guys.
Yeah. So you need sworn in at the next meeting. So, planning board has just like 2 members. So we have a guy named gentleman Paul Bordeaux who's going to sit in on the planning board. So make a motion.
I
that we-
move that we accept Paul Bordeaux as a member of the Middleton Planning Board,
We'll second.
effective tonight.
Okay.
BORDEAU?
Yeah, I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
He still needs to come in and be
Yes, sworn
sworn in and be very happy with that.
Okay, so effective upon his being sworn in.
Sworn in. Okay, if that's all under the signature actions, old business. Mr. Mullins.
Thank you very much. Old Town Hall. I can say with confidence that I can see the end of the tunnel and I'm near the end of the tunnel. We've made a lot of progress. It doesn't look like it on the outside, but the inside we've made a lot of progress. Most of the electrical, all the light fixtures except outside are up. All the electrical outlets are powered up except upstairs. They're still working on the the chandelier lighting. They'll come back and do that. Plus they have to do some outside lighting. The lighting has been purchased, so it's just a matter of hanging it up. They have to also get underneath down in the crawl space to secure wires that have been, they have to put them through runners and they'll do that. And as far as I can tell, they will be done. Maybe a couple little things here and there, but the electrical should be done. Not sure when that'll happen. I would say in a week or two. As far as utilizing the building right now, it is usable. The painting in the main hall and the stage is complete as of today, except for a little touch up on trim. That's it. Done. The painting in the hallway is done, except for a couple little touch-ups. The library, electrical outlets are not in there yet because we're using that as kind of like a saw room to keep the dust down. Today, they stabilized and lifted up the kitchen floor, and it is, I've never seen it that level since I've been there. I swear, it's level. What they did is, it's not a long-term fix, but it is shored up and could last for some time until a permanent fix is done. So it's not temporary, but it's not, I wouldn't say it's long-term, but it's secure. They lifted the floor up 4.5 inches. That's how much they have to lift it up on the right side where it really went down. So it's, when they were over by the stove and jacking it up, you could hear it creak, but but it's secure and level, at least in the middle there.
Did they leave Jackson? Or did
No, they put in timbers. We had some big blocks that we had left over. They put that in. I'm not sure what they put on the ground, but they lifted it up actually 1/2 inch higher than they had to, figuring it might settle just a little bit. So that is now safe and usable now and sometime in the future. But I would highly recommend that the town, whatever they do with that kitchen, to look at making it more permanent piers down there. We have one plumbing, we have a plumbing issue. For some reason, the water, or the toilets are not flushing properly, so they drain very slow. The plumber is coming in tomorrow to see what the problem is. He thinks it's out in the septic. I'm not sure that's where it is.
Didn't they just pump the septic?
They pumped the septic because we pulled off the top of the toilets weren't flushing at all. Sink wasn't, it was bubbling up. So we called in Cameron to pump it out because we were figuring this might be what it is. He came out, we lifted both tops of the tank and the pump area, and the tank was full right to the top, meaning it wasn't being pumped. And the reason it wasn't being pumped, when the electrician began the job to rip the wires out, all the old wiring, he disconnected that. Fortunately, he had the wire, and it was long enough, and he hooked it up, and the pump is running. So there's something between the toilets. It's a very long run. It's a very long run, because it goes from the toilets out. And so he's going to take a look at that, and I'm not sure what we're going to do. That's the only problem. We had a problem with, well, the other problem is we were having problems with our water. The well pump apparently would run for one cycle and that's it. So we tried all kinds of things. So then I called in AAA Water to come in and do the test. They can test all the breakers and see if it's the pump and everything else. And initially, it seemed like the pump was okay. All the circuitry inside where the tank is seemed to be working, but he wasn't getting a correct voltage from the building to the well. So we had to dig up. Highway department came in and we had to dig up where the splices were made from the well, or from the tank inside the building under the foundation. Found the splices down there, and the splices were totally destroyed, and you could smell electrical in there. So they either were
Short note.
well, they could have been shorting out, or they were carrying such low voltage. Don't know. I'm not an electrician, so I don't know. But we cut those out. We spliced together. The electrician did that. We had to dig the hole, pump the water out. He got down in there, spliced them up. Pump ran for once, didn't work again. So then he cut back from the splices. Maybe the wire was bad or something. Pigtailed them, came, and the pump still didn't run. So the water guy came out. I said, what do we do? He pulled the pump, tested the pump was bad, so the pump had to be replaced. New splices were put in by the pump guy. They're waterproof. They're in, and no problem, it's running. The well, just for edification, is 225 feet deep.
Okay, when you say pump, you're talking about the well pump?
The well pump.
Pump up system.
Yeah, the well pump that's down in the casing.
How would it affect? Oh, okay.
That pumps the water up, John.
You're
It's,
talking water in, not
yeah,
water.
it's
Okay.
a pump like this, it goes down
Yeah,
in
I
the
know.
casing.
Yeah, it's a deep well pump.
Deep well pump, yeah. So it's 225, so he pulled the whole thing in, replaced all the cables and everything else, so that's good. So, what's left to do? Tomorrow, they will start putting on the clapboards. They will also start trimming at least the 2 outside doors we have. And working on the cap on the roof and on the front of the building. We have decided not to use posts. There'll be about a 36-inch cap of the same way out about 36 inches from the door. It'll be beyond the trip line. Thought behind that, at least the general contractor said, if you put posts were there before that held up the porch, if you will. He said you could do that. You have to dig a hole down. You have to put in, and then it's susceptible to cars running into it. Although nobody ever did. But he suggested just putting the porch on. They'll be able to support that sufficient enough. So that's what we're proceeding to do. Once that's done, they're going to be done, and we're going to be pretty much done. Where are we in terms of using the building? The building will be open and available to candidates night. The building will be up and even in better condition on election day. The contractor has promised to build a temporary handicap ramp to get up so that they can vote, to get up into the building.
Will there be one there Wednesday night?
I doubt it. I can ask if he would work on that, but I doubt that it will
Can I
be.
get in through the back door?
Yeah.
No.
Oh, the back door, the kitchen didn't work?
Hmm?
The kitchen back door does not work?
The kitchen back door does work, but we have no ramp to get up there.
That's
Isn't that flat with the ground?
No, it's a good step up.
They jacked it up, so.
It's a good step up. I can ask him if he would build that for candidates night, but
Is candidates night Wednesday night?
Yeah,
Mhm.
middle of the storm.
Well, right, I was gonna say, so.
Well,
I mean, I think do we play the odds that nobody needed to utilize it? I mean,
good, I just don't want it to come back and bite us.
No, I
We
don't
had a
either,
meeting
but-
and it's not.
I can call the carpenter and
What about a ramp on the back one? A sheet of plywood? Would that
we
work?
got plywood out there. It's pretty messy out there.
yeah, too.
Pretty muddy. There is plywood out there, and there are some old timbers out there that could probably be used if you had to get somebody up there.
Well, then, here's my suggestion. Considering what the weather's gonna be like, we're still gonna have it. But if there's a problem with the handicap, we'll move the meeting over to here. Okay, that way you don't have to build anything temporary, because you said you'll have a ramp by the 13th.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep. Yep.
No sense in building a
No.
temporary one just
No.
for one night, and people probably aren't gonna be there to use it
No.
anyway.
So, the only painting we have, as far as the chapel upstairs is concerned, the only thing that Bedard has to do up there, it won't take very long, is just align up some of the doors that got, the doors to the pews. But that's not major, it's just adding some strips and that's it. It's done upstairs. The staircase going up, the only thing they have to add is a railing, which is not a big deal, you know, a handrail to go up. And they're done. And we have to paint that, but we're not in a hurry of painting that right away. We wanted the main hall and the stage is secondary to be open for candidates night and town meeting, elections and town meeting, and it will be.
Wow.
So that's the update.
Tremendous amount of work.
What's that?
Tremendous amount of work to get that.
A lot of people have done it. The hardest part has been coordinating contractors. That's been the hardest part. We've had a lot of help from a lot of people. Not large groups, but one here, one there. Bill and his girlfriend came over weekend before last, and put a lot of primer on. Mary Kimball and Lester were over there painting. I was over there painting. My wife has been painting. Cheryl's been painting. We've had a lot other people come over and paint, which is a hard thing to do. And paint covers up a lot of stuff. So I hope everybody's happy with the colors we chose. I think the lamp choice is really nice. And they're all every light in that building except for the kitchen are LEDs, which reduces your electricity costs considerably. So we have 12 lights in the main hall. The contractor said that is equal, the amount of energy is that you're using less energy with those LED lamps than with two 100-watt bulbs when they're on. So.
Phone line?
Hmm?
You're talking about phone line? Phone line
Phone.
over there?
What phone light?
Phone line, telephone line.
Oh yeah, the telephone line. Well,
Twice started.
I'm sorry. We were running around today trying to get a phone line in there because there has been a phone line in there all along for use in elections, right? Well, when we did the remodeling and we moved the panel to the utility room, we pulled all the communication wires out and we were going to reroute them back in through the storage area and hook them up. Well, we find out that none of our utility people do that. We don't. So we're running around today saying we got to have a line in there because of hearing impaired. Have a device that's used. Well, we find out today, right, Laura? It's not necessary for town elections.
Maybe national.
Only state elections, which come up in November. So the problem we're having right now is the town's current service that services all your phones and servers does no installation. They originally installed the fiber that goes from building to building to building. That building's fiber has never ever been hooked up. It's just hanging there. So there's no communication over there at all. Nothing. So I was trying to get Flightline? Is that what?
First light?
First Flight to give us an estimate on at least being able to provide Wi-Fi over there eventually somehow, or a phone like you have phones here. That was unbelievably difficult because they were thinking we're some kind of apartment complex or business complex, and you've got this and that, and your cost for this addition is going to be $800 to $1,200. I said, no, it isn't. A month to do that. I said, no. So we have over there, we have coax from Spectrum, Time Warner, which feeds the fire station office there. So we could get coax in there, we just gotta hook it up. The phone, which is Fairpoint, there is a line there, but it's not hot. So we're gonna have to resolve the communication because the state elections, everything is through the internet, not the phone. So we're gonna have to have internet service over there if that's where the elections are gonna be.
Do you remember that little box thing that was in the booth that Jack hooked up?
Mhm.
That's what they do it with now, it's instead of the phone line. It's
Okay.
all on that little machine.
Okay.
So I thought it would be very simple because if you look in the highway garage, fiber comes in to a black box, about that big, 12 by 12. That black box does whatever it does. It's probably some kind of converter that switches it, and it switches it to another switch, a little smaller one, and then it goes out as Ethernet to your phones and your computer. So I said, well, why can't you hook that up? Well, we have to do this, and we can't do that, but we can't do this and do that. I stopped asking, so that will have to be resolved before November of this year, how to get internet over there, one way or the other. If you're gonna use that for state elections.
This is probably what we plan on doing. I
Exactly,
would
sure.
assume so. The guy I talked to today,
Yep,
he swung over by there tonight, and he wants to get with me tomorrow. I know we got the thing to do, but from 4:30, he's gonna meet me over there, and he wants me to take him inside and see what he wants, stuff like that, because he thinks he can get that done for us.
good.
In any capacity we want, if we want either that, if we want whatever, he can help it get done.
If he's gonna do that, I would provide at least a central box where we've talked about in the storage room, so that then we can go anywhere that we want to within the building. Down through the base, or down through the crawl space, up through a wall to a plug. And my thought is sometime we would probably want a Wi-Fi in there, but you'd want it secure.
So we put in that closet in the secure lock box, the signal still get out, but we still have.
Absolutely, yep.
Then we can have either a public one, or we can encrypt it, so it's just for
I
town.
I would encrypt it,
So,
yeah, I would password it.
so.
I mean, even though everybody's gonna know what the password is, not, yeah. I think that would be best, just, you know, your current supplier has been absolutely no help whatsoever.
We pay on an average, how much a month for that first light?
It's like $1,100.
A month.
We pay $550 just for internet.
So I guess we gotta do some shopping.
Well, yeah, I
I mean, when you call down there and stuff like that, they're supposed to be helpful, and they're not very helpful,
Well-
honestly. I mean, you've complained about other things in the past with them, especially with the phone system, the whole phone thing. I mean, yeah, they'll help us eventually. It took like 4 months to figure out what kind of phone numbers we didn't need to pay for. And it's like, we dumped a lot of numbers.
Well, I think they have evolved into a company that when they talk to a customer, I think they're talking to an IT person, and we are not.
No.
We just want internet, and we want our phones, and we want, that's what we're looking for. I talked to the guy, when I talked to, who was the phone guy we talked to today? Oh,
Jonathan.
yeah, he's at First Light, right? And I said, if I bring in a line as a homeowner, how am I supposed to connect up? Well, that's your problem. You gotta hire these installers to come. I said, geez. And if you look at the Fairpoint box, which is out there, you come to, what is it, if I was doing Fairpoint, which is a landline, which is eventually gonna go away eventually, you come in there and what does a homeowner that knows nothing about wiring or electronics, then he's gotta hire somebody to come in to do it. I mean, you used to be able to come in the phone line, even if they didn't come in, they would come inside the house and put a block. Just like cable does. They come in and they put a splitter, and you can go anywhere you wanna go. They don't even do that. And, you know, talking about $500, $600, $700, $800,000 a month for just, that's crazy.
So we may have some kind of communications by next Tuesday. If we need it, then we may not, but we got till November.
Well, somebody said, well, you should have phone over there, you should, but most people have these
Cell phones.
cell phones, and yes, not everybody gets a good signal over there. I have Verizon, so I've been able to, sometimes I gotta move around, but I've been able to even get on the internet a little bit. It's kinda slow, but it's all right.
But
Okay.
Best one in the area.
So we are in very, very good shape.
A couple questions. Not even sure whose job it is. Tables and chairs for Wednesday night?
That's your guys.
Take care of it.
Yeah,
so-
unless, yeah, and the highway department said they would help with the tables.
Okay.
We don't need a lot of tables.
No.
3 of them.
There's one there already.
You'll need some for
3.
Tuesday, I mean, for the elections.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're just gonna leave the same ones in there. Yep.
Yeah, just move the tables if, you can leave the tables in there, because there's nothing that needs to be done in the main hall at all, except,
Okay.
Mary wants to wash up the floor before the election, and the floor is pretty nasty. Just needs to be mopped up. I mean, there's paint drips on there, but most of those come up, and those will be done, when the flooring is done. So,
Other question is, now that the floor's been leveled and the rest of the building looks so nice, are you as convinced as always of the need to redo the kitchen?
I think with the amount of resources that the town has put into that building, and as nice as it is, it would be advisable to upgrade that kitchen to be more usable and more efficient. I did talk to the contractor about the potential plans for the kitchen.
Mhm.
He totally agreed with the concept because he felt the kitchen was way too big for its use. So putting that wall in that room in the back, whatever you want to use for that room, really made sense. And I talked to him about, some people have expressed, and I think you remembered that some people have expressed about offering that as a community kitchen, where people could use the facility to make jams and pickles and that kind of stuff for sale if they wanted. You'd rent it out, but he felt that dividing that, taking 1/3 of the kitchen away, and if you lay it out properly with work areas and so forth and so on, that would be sufficient room to handle that. The flooring, John, you talked about the flooring, and it's beautiful flooring, but the flooring underneath is awful. It's logs, the supports.
Okay.
They're just pine logs that are, the bark is still on them. And the one that broke was like this,
Right.
and they're all over the place. And the contractor said the floor could be done from underneath, but the time would be so costly that it would not be advisable because of the working conditions under there. It's in some spots it's like this.
Right.
So he suggests that if you did it, rip the floor out. If you wanted to save the flooring, it's beautiful flooring, the way they do it is you have to drive each nail in the flooring, which is driven in the tongue, and you drive it down through. Drive it out. So you take a long punch,
Yeah.
punch each nail, or rip it up,
Thank you.
put new flooring in, work from the flooring, work from above down,
Do the supports.
replace all the joists and put new plywood in, flooring, and then put your flooring down. It seems the right next step for that building.
But all that should be done before you renovate the kitchen. Yes,
What's that?
the floor.
No, the floor is stabilized, the floor right now is level.
Right, but if you do the kitchen and do the wall,
Oh yeah, you gotta do the floor too. Oh, absolutely.
seems like you'd have to do the floor first before you
Yeah, oh yeah.
put in the new kitchen.
If it was me, and I'm just like you, John, first thing I'd do is get a dumpster and gut it. Totally gut it. Rip the floor up, put a new floor in there, go on top of that, and then go from there.
You might have to ask for an amendment on the Saturday of the town meeting.
And so that doesn't affect any of the kitchen is not a part of like the historic
No.
building, right? So, I
It-
just don't want somebody balking to say.
No, it is part of the historic building per se.
Yeah,
Because we spent money jacking it up and putting new foundation under there. That was part of the project. Initially though, the project did not include any kitchen renovation. The building is not an historic designated building per se. The L-chip grant, when we get it, wants you to restore. It's never been a renovation, it's been a restore. So you'll see in there's a lot of old crusty painted stuff that's still there that there's probably 15 coats of paint on that inside there. So in terms of affecting the historic aspect of it, we are not locked in that we can't change anything without getting this from there, because that was never in the original proposal or the proposal that we got the L-chip money from. It was just make sure the foundation is correct. So when we did the ceiling had to be done because we had to wire. That wasn't even in there. But when you start rewiring, and according to the electrician, he couldn't do it properly without doing this and so forth and so on. So that was part of the project, even though the kitchen, we don't have to do anything with the kitchen.
just my concern is someone going to say, is somebody.
What's the history of the kitchen? When was it added? What?
I don't know those without asking some people, but that was my understanding. That was a schoolhouse that came up and attached to the kitchen, or attached to the main building, and that had to have been a long time ago.
Yeah.
But it
In
doesn't
terms
have
of
to say-
affecting the historic nature of it, again, we are not, to the best of my knowledge, and I'm pretty sure of this, that portion, the whole building is not governed by its historical nature, only for the project that we received grants for. So somebody could say, well, I don't want to, the historic value of the building. Well, if you've been in the kitchen, everything that's in the kitchen is not too historic.
Right. But I'm just saying the floor, where the floor is a part of the original.
The floor was unsafe.
No, and I get that. I just am just saying that
Well, okay, what you could do, if you did that, then you would have to realize that to repair the floor from underneath is going to be, I'm just saying.
Yeah, no,
I know, I understand, because there are people who, particularly in this state, and everywhere, on historical structures, they don't care what it costs.
right, and that's what I'm saying. Is that going to be an issue?
To me, it would not be,
Okay, I'm just.
but there could be for some people, and you would just have to say, okay.
Who would make that decision? Do you know?
Taxpayers.
No, the tax.
On
Look,
Saturday.
it's the town's building.
Right.
Okay,
And-
no, but I just
An
didn't know.
historic thing. Again, we are not. That building is not locked into any historic
Okay,
restrictions.
then I think that's okay.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. I was wondering, is there somebody gonna come forward and say, no, you can't touch anything on that floor?
No,
because
that's
X,
not
Y, Z,
true.
blah, blah."
That's
Okay,
not true. Yeah.
No, and that's why I'm asking because.
Now, when you get L-chip money for the building of this is, and the same thing with Preservation Alliance. They want to restore historic structures. So when you restore, that's why we have the contractor, because that's what he specializes in. I mean, when they did the stairwell, the new stairwell we put in, okay, so we could have access to the chapel. The nails that are holding the paneling and the stairs have been hand cut to look like old hand cut nails when they drive them in. So that's the type of stuff that we do. We used a lot of the old material that's in there for flooring,
Filling in gaps.
the beadboard that was destroyed, we milled that out. I'm not sure, and I'm not saying this, I'm not sure people realize how much work, manual work went into trying to keep that as good as we can in terms of historical nature.
John, the petition as it's stated right now is $30,000 to renovate the kitchen. Monies to come from the fund balance from the previous year, 30,000. I think you're gonna do the floor first, and I'm wondering if we need to amend it to include another 10,000 for the floor?
I don't know if the floor would cost that much. I tell you what I can do. Friday, I won't be available tomorrow, Wednesday or Thursday, but I can, or if you're over there tomorrow, pull Omar, you know Omar, pull him aside,
You know,
because he drew up plans how to fix that.
Okay.
Ask him how many hours he thinks it might take. The material is nothing,
right.
it's the labor.
And it's the labor, if you tear the floor up, that's a tenth of the labor that it would take to crawl underneath and do it.
That's what the contractor said. You'd
Tear
be,
that whole floor up, you wouldn't have to do it all at once because of that stove. You could start at one end, do enough to move the stove over.
well, you could move the stove out and put it in a, well, no, you could pick it up. I mean, you could. Not me and you.
How would it even fit out a door?
They go right, you'll rip the cabinets out, you just pull it out, you roll it into the hallway.
Oh, okay, not outside.
No, just roll it in the hallway or roll it in the main hall. I mean, you can get,
You can buy those wooden dollies with wheels
Yeah.
on them. One at each end, and you can steer any way you want to.
yeah, you can get up there,
You
so,
have to have a floor jack to lift it up to get that underneath.
yeah, so, I don't know how much time that would take, but the head carpenter who was a,
Okay, we can talk with them. Well,
yeah.
you see, I'm trying to.
I know what you're trying to say. I think, I don't know how much it would, if you can figure out the hours that he thinks it would take from above,
And I'm not even sure it has to be a wooden floor. It could be, what do you use in the kitchen? Wood is nice, but it doesn't have to be.
well, no, but I mean,
If it is,
you could,
wood.
I think you would have to rip it up and,
Takes too long.
because the plywood, it's all running the wrong way with where the joists are going.
Right, yeah.
The subflooring is running, they got plywood going this way and they got flooring going this way. It's not right.
Yeah.
Well, and then unfortunately, that's what happened back in the day when we had a bunch of volunteers and scrap stuff.
Well,
Over for
that's not,
projects
that's
people
old, that's
gave,
the
you know.
original, it looks
So-
like the original flooring. I mean, it's
It's lasted this long.
It's
So-
old pine, it's old southern yellow pine. If you get an idea on that, I can't
Yeah, I can doctor
figure,
first thing in the morning and know my
if
way back
you
home
got,
safe.
if you got some contractor on the outside to do that, figure $100 an hour.
Mhm.
So how long would that take? Would that take 2-3 days? If it's all torn out by volunteers, and you know it would be,
Right.
and you got an open space in there, you probably have $500 worth of lumber. That's it. Maybe a little more, not much. They had $800 worth of staging upstairs.
Does the floor tie the two walls together?
No, because remember, because I was concerned when I talked to the contractor, can we jack the floor up? No, Omar says, no, you don't take a whole flooring out and you can rest on the sill and everything. It's a brand new sill all the way
Yeah,
around.
so that makes sense. Now's the time to do it.
Now is the time to do it. And I don't, if it would take them $100, that's $800 a day, 4 days, $2,400.
Yeah.
Not including the flooring, but get the plywood down and get the subfloor
Say
in.
it's about $5 grand.
Huh?
Be about $5 grand.
Probably. Maybe.
So,
I'll still talk to Omar tomorrow,
Right,
see what his
but-
idea is.
Yeah, he can tell you how much he thinks, how long that would take from above.
how much do we have in fund balance now? 800,000?
It's gonna be less than that because you spent some last year. I
It's
think
over
over
6
700.
is good, 6 or
700.
7, yeah.
Okay. So taking 30 or 40,000 out of it
It's
is
not.
not gonna
Does,
affect it.
does the proposed warrant article take into account new appliances?
Yes, that's how I got up to 30,000. Because the actual work is not gonna be anywhere near that.
No.
Are you
Not
putting
at
new
all.
refrigerators?
No, but a new freezer and a new triple sink. Supposed to have a three,
No, no new stove though, right?
no, we're keeping that one.
But just should upgrade the
New
pipe.
cabinet.
Can upgrade the,
All new cabinets, countertops.
so that any Billy Bob can come in there and turn it on, because right now it's a little,
You talking about the
Compression
stove?
work?
yeah, you gotta
Oh,
reach
boy.
back and you can fix it, I know that.
That's the joys of having a huge propane stove,
That thing is beautiful.
yeah. But there'd be, a new wall put in,
Nothing.
nothing in the room itself, just a wall up, okay? To divide the back 1/3 with a door. And then all of the cabinets that are there are out. New cabinets from the Middleton building at a tremendous price from them. I have all this in my desk, if anybody wants to see it. And we have an estimate from a contractor to do the walls. Those walls have to be torn from the inside, new sheetrock put up, okay? But all of that has to be done after you get the floor up.
It would not make sense
Yeah.
to rip all that out, even though the floor is stable right now.
Right
It
now,
would not make sense, because eventually the floor will continue
I gotta
to,
tell you, at the same time, it'd be a good time to upgrade the plumbing and the water pipes.
well,
I mean, that would be, the floor's already.
just
open,
make sure
easy.
that,
impacts, sure.
just make sure that the lines are pitched properly,
Oh, yeah.
and that the water, like you were talking about, increasing the size of the water lines, that's easy, but I think the plumbing underneath there is part of the problem we have right now, that
Yep.
it's not pitched properly. I
It's probably
cannot,
not big enough either.
well, it's a 4-inch line, should be
Oh,
big.
that's big
It should be big enough. It's
Oh, yeah.
just, you know,
Yeah, we can work with that.
he's gonna try to find, he's gonna look at it tomorrow and see what it is, because we were working fine up until the end of today, and then the toilets would not flush. I'll guarantee if I go in there now, they're down. So something is happening, either a blockage or someplace, and the plumber's explanation or comment to me was, we should have had Cameron jet it out,
Yeah, Roto-Rooter, same thing.
or Roto-Rooter, but I don't know if it's at the septic system, because it's gotta be in there somewhere, some
Something like
blockage,
it's somewhere in the line. nothing
something in the line somewhere,
So-
and I've seen the plumbing before it went in, and it just goes down underneath the floor where the other lines were, and out she goes. There's some bends, but should, unless it's not pitched properly, and it's,
All that's required for plumbing is a 1/4 inch per foot.
that's right.
John,
Hmm.
roughly, in case this comes up on the town meeting, how much money's been spent on that building? Between L-Chip and us?
Right
And
now, we're $35,000 short of the 375.
So, round number, 350,000?
Well, probably, well, when you get the flooring done, we're gonna hit pretty close to 375.
375,000. Seems like 40,000 or thereabouts.
Well, we're not going over 375.
Okay, no, you're missing my point.
No.
If we had spent this much money, 375,000 on the building, it would seem to be a small price to pay for the town to spend 40,000 to fix that kitchen.
You would have one heck of a community center.
Yep, you would.
Something to be proud of, just like we are proud of that school down
You
there.
can do it
No
without
impact on
taxation.
taxes.
No taxes, okay?
It's a done deal.
The only tax money that was spent on that was the amount that the town allocated last year. That's the only amount, the matching amount. You gave us an extra,
So I thought the original one was taxation, and last year was from unbalanced fund reserve.
oh, was it? Okay.
Wasn't it?
All right, well, that's still,
That's right.
it's still taxpayers' money, but still, it's,
Right.
it's still there, yeah. We had to match 50/50.
Yeah.
So, and the total project was budgeted at I believe 375, and when we do the floors, whoever does the floor, we got a very good price on the floors.
Yeah.
Just under $3 a square foot, which is, or $3, which is pretty low to do the floor, and he's gonna, that's all wooden floors. That's the stage, the main hall, the hallway, and the library.
Nice.
That's a lot of floor.
Yeah, that's nice.
4 coats of polyurethane on
Yeah.
top of that.
Oh.
That's quite a, that building will be a real gem. Something to be proud of. And the Heritage Commission has talked about an open house. Soon as town meeting is done, we still have stuff to do, painting and stuff on the staircases and stuff. Then we will be talking to the board about an open house for an official opening of the building.
All right.
And there'll be a big party for that one. Okay, that's my update.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh.
When you plan that open house, since you have some ins with the state government, maybe we can get some.
I already have promised that the governor will be invited. Joe Kenny, who's our counselor for the area, and Jeb Bradley will be invited also. And I am sure that,
I'm sure you'll see WMUR.
well,
not too far behind.
that will be also, but honestly, I am sure Senator Bradley would be more than happy to be here. I'm sure Counselor Kenny would be here. And hopefully, if we schedule it early enough that the governor loves to do those type of things. He's very good at that, and he supports L-CHIP to the nth degree, as does the legislature. So I'm sure that we'll have those for the opening. And we should get Fritz back here to do a before and after.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be fun.
Okay.
All right, so we'll move into the next item, which is Meet the Candidates Night, which is on this coming Wednesday.
6:30, I believe. That's all right?
We don't care if it snows or not. We have one of the best road crews in the state.
We do.
We'll be able to make it. Get out your own driveway. That's your problem. No. And I have 4-wheel drive, so I'll make it. So.
I'll be there.
All right, so that'll be cool. And elections is 3/13. This is the following Tuesday.
7 to 7.
7 to 7. Okay. It's gonna be standard. Some people like to start at 10. We feel that there's 3 hours that people don't get a chance to vote that won't come back and vote on the way home. So
That's true.
give them an opportunity. I think we're missing it just because we don't want to be the 3 hours early. That's not good enough for me. So, as far as my opinion is, and I'm sure John feels the same way. So, so 7 to 7, and then we'll be there all day long unless required by law. Okay. So, other than that, Kings Highway pit line adjustment.
Okay, this is resurfaced.
Wow.
This is the one we talked about in 2015.
The people who have
Yeah.
their driveways in our property.
Our pins in the middle of their driveway.
Right.
Okay. So, back in 15, I believe you agreed to move the line and give them that 12 feet. Okay, so that's never been done. So, well, Eddie thought that the survey, Norway Plains,
Yeah.
it is in their thing to go in front of the planning board and all that. They don't do the zoning part. So, Ed, I printed everything that we needed. I talked to New Durham. You can either send an attorney over there, or we can do it ourselves. They will walk us through it. I've asked for a waiver on the fees, so she's looking into that. I don't know how much it's gonna cost or, but I do have all that and I think one of us should actually fill it out. And he will help, because he
Okay.
knows most of the answers, and I've done most of the background, the abutters and all that already.
So what I could do is come in on probably Thursday or Friday,
Okay.
so.
And we'll look at it.
A little clarification. A little clarification, this is.
Up in New Durham, on Kings Highway, where our pit is,
Mhm.
we come in about 3 years ago, had it surveyed by White Plain, Norway Plains because the AOTs and stuff, we're moving the pit around to get more gravel. And during the survey, if you're looking at the pit entrance to your left-hand side, that property that's right there that abuts the pit, well, when they done the survey, our pin, their driveway goes right through it. So they're using our property to access their property, okay? It's off by about 12 feet. So, we decided as a board that instead of, all the hoops and stuff like that, the people who bought it didn't know this. This is like the third, people who bought this since it all happened. They didn't know. So basically, we're going
So
to
you're gonna
move
give
it
12 feet.
ourselves and give it to them so they can have an extra 12 feet and kind of square it off a little bit. But to do that legally, we have to go through New Durham's zoning board of adjustments and all that stuff.
And this, I guess, is because we don't have the frontage.
Hmm.
We're already not in compliance with the 400 feet. So once we give them the 12, we're gonna be less in compliance than we already are. So that's what we need approval for. That's how I took it.
So without the 12 feet, how far off was we?
I think we're at like 387. I think it's what Eddie said, but
387, you need 400, and if we give
Mhm.
away 12, we, hey, could you give us 13?
so, but if we have to have this done by 319, and I told her I'd hand deliver it to the assessor and she'd go over it while I was there,
Yeah.
to get on the April meeting with this ZBA over there.
Okay, I'll come in this
We
weekend,
have plenty of time.
work through it, and call Ed, tell him that we'll be working on Thursday or Friday. It'll probably be Friday, because he'll be cleaning up on Thursday, so.
So the lake properties aren't the only ones that are off a little bit.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Yeah,
So, alright,
but that was
Take care of
that, so that's good.
alright, nothing else on the old business, we move into new maintenance work.
Okay, so that's
That's
me.
loaded, that's loaded.
Would you break
So,
this time?
no, I didn't break anything. Actually, the highway guys brought to my attention how much I utilize them to fix things. And they asked me why we haven't hired a maintenance man. And I said, well, we do have Lester, but things don't, I think he's too busy. So like when the railing is broke and I call him, I need that fixed now, it doesn't get fixed for a while. So maybe we can get like a part-time, 10-hour a week, 10 hours every 2 weeks, I don't know. I just thought I'd bring it to you so you can, think about it a little bit.
What does it pay?
Depends on what they, and then he said we can probably actually do the lawn thing, but make it one position, the lawn. I don't know, he just threw that out there. But they do fix a lot, everything, time something gets broken, they fix it. But,
Is that a job
The-
you're gonna post?
oh, we would, just to find
Yeah.
some people, yeah.
The lawn is done as a separate item. One of the highway crew does it on what would be their day off. Is it possible that that same person could do maintenance work after hours,
That's totally up
if
to you.
he's willing to do it?
So we toss around, figure out how we wanna do it,
Yeah,
so. I don't think we're gonna get an answer to it at night, but I don't really think we're gonna need to go up and, I don't know, we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
just a thought,
Okay,
okay.
and guest Wi-Fi,
I should have that by the end of the week, cause you asked me to get that, so.
and that's gonna be for the, out of this building here.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yep.
Alright. That should be too much money to do that either, so. Chief, you wanted something out of new business?
Yeah, I wanted to update you guys on a couple of different things. You had asked me to find out some information about an addition for the fire station. So, looking at the building itself, DeCrizio's can get us a panelized building and a crane for about $23,000.
What's a panelized building?
So it just comes to us in pieces and it just gets set. Tie everything in, roof trusses. That doesn't include the price on a foundation. I called Matrix, it's about $9,000 for a foundation. My whole thought process is that if we're gonna order an ambulance at that cost, do you really wanna put that in the same spot that the one that's now in there? With there's this much room on it. We don't know when we're gonna get the highway department. In the meantime, it would still be nice to have that room. And whatever what happens to the fire station afterwards, it's still gonna get utilized.
What do you get with an addition besides the bay?
Well, we're gonna get more
Bathroom?
storage, nope, I'm not even doing any of that. Because of the height of it, we still have the, and we still have the trailer.
Okay.
So if we put an addition off to the side, same length as the station, my thought is take the rescue truck, move that over into that new bay where it can have a boat behind it, we've got storage behind it. Leave the ambulance in the main part of the building, because that has to be kept at 65 degrees. We can put heat into the addition whenever we can. It'll stay above freezing, I'm not worried about that, because it'll be insulated and everything, and I think we can get some people to volunteer to come up, tie everything together, we can have the whole thing built basically in a day.
Isn't there a fire department building fund? Or anything like a trust fund for the,
There's a capital reserve fund.
Is there anything in that, or was that one depleted years ago when we had a study done?
Which one are we talking about?
fire, something for a fire department building?
Fire
There's an
station
addition one, yep.
There is an addition.
Mhm.
But did that get spent? I thought that got spent years ago for,
They only took a portion of it years ago.
okay.
And
There's
it-
still money, I can't tell you how much off the top of my head, maybe 25,000, 30,000, I don't know. I'd have to look.
Because if we're gonna get a new ambulance, to snake that thing into that same spot, look at the side of the ambulance, look at the side of the rescue. It's scratched. It's a tough spot. I mean, literally, you've got that much room to try to weave that thing in. And whatever happens to the building afterwards, it's still gonna be utilized.
Well, there's some questions whether it be utilized or not. Some people said the building's not worth for any other use. I don't agree, but I'm sure there's some taxpayers that would agree that it's not another use for the building. How would that, building onto there, how would that affect plans to move? Would it negate plans to move?
I don't think so. Because eventually, whenever the highway department does move down there, it only makes sense to go into one building that's got bathrooms, washrooms, shower, we can put a laundry facility in there, meeting rooms, whatever. I don't think it will hinder it.
Well, people say, if we add on to this building, where does it need to move?
Because the highway department still needs to move down. We still are, we're not NFPA compliant with what we're
We still
supposed to
have
have.
bathrooms and showers and stuff like that over at the fire department. We still don't have that there.
But we can always put that in. We're supposed to have laundry facilities, we're supposed to have.
But if you had the highway garage, you could put that in there.
Exactly,
It's all designed to, it's geared up with the drainage like that, you could do that
exactly,
at minimal cost instead of putting all brand new systems in over here.
correct.
The talk was the addition money was gonna use to redo the highway to do that. That's what you've talked about before,
Right.
whatever was in there.
Right. Kinda like saving it to be able
Well, so when
to.
you went over there, that would be the fire department, so you could do the addition money on that
Right.
building
Right.
and do your laundry room or whatever you needed.
Sure.
You also could, in terms of utilization, the old fire hall, if you put the addition on, that could be a new police station, take them out of the basement and put them up in
We
there.
still have the problem with bathrooms and stuff.
Well, it's part of the renovations.
That would be part,
Give
you
them the
could,
trailer.
you could tap into the,
Right.
I mean, you can add a bathroom to that thing over there, I mean, you
Which
can.
one are you talking, the highway garage?
I'm talking about highway garage
Has a bathroom.
has bathrooms, but it doesn't have showers, and if you put an addition in there,
Yeah.
either to where the salt shed is right now,
We might be able to configure.
you could
stuff inside.
configure enough to put, whatever you needed there, washing facilities and showers and all that other kind of stuff. But the fire station could be converted and a bathroom added to it,
Sure.
for a new police station, and then you would free up the space down here.
You could actually use that new addition as your salad port.
That depends on what some police want them, some don't.
What were you thinking of for a timeline, Bill?
Well, that's what I wanted to do, just, we touch base on it, I've gotten some prices on it.
Curiosity, have you got a price on any metal buildings? Like US Steel or something like that versus wooden?
I figured one to Prezio's, they'll give us a deal on the building itself. It comes all panelized. So once we get that foundation up, get some people up here, that's already, the crane rental is already included in that. And we can have that thing up, buttoned in.
It keeps the money local.
Right. I can call a guy, I know a guy that does steel buildings, I can talk to him. But we still need the foundation.
But, yeah, I know, you gotta be, you need a foundation when you have it here on the other one. That's a given. See, my idea, eventually, in the future, is to take the fire department and where the salt shed is, build not just a single, but a two-story steel building over there, and have like an L, and have the police department come this way off that same, so we have a public safety building utilizing the old highway garage.
That was
And
the
that would be-
original charrette
Right.
concept.
It makes sense to do that, you know? And then over here at the old fire department, because you don't have facilities, is convert that, because it is storage for like the rec committee, the village villages, all those people who need storage, and take that burden out of the old town hall, you know? Yes, people have to walk back and forth, but who cares? I mean, that would be that, and at one point, there's a talk of maybe a possible food pantry. So you take food pantry, wall down the first bay of the fire department, you come in this, you have an overhead door to offload stuff like that they get for donations, and you have people counter and people, all kinds of shelf space, they can put freezers and chest freezers like that in it, that sort of thing, and you get 2 other bays to divvy up with everybody else. And that would make a great, great store. I mean, we just spent some big money in that to take care of it, so. And that would be good for everybody, I would think, you know? And that keeps all the public safety stuff right over that one area, instead of a hodgepodge here, piece down here. I don't know, it just makes it, you know. But at the same token, that's why I'm saying metal building, because we got one bigger enough footprint that we would utilize over there, and you could always add a second story to it afterwards. And you could use it over again, it's just matter, you put it up with a crane, you take it apart with a crane, and move it, and reassemble. You know, it's just like Lincoln Logs, that's what my thought it might be, but just something to look at, so.
You were talking about heat. Are you suggesting this section would not need heat?
We might not be able, I mean, if we cut a section into it so that we can get from the addition into the fire station,
All right.
and the walls are the same, and if we just got big doors and we've got some fans circulating.
Oh, so just use the heat that's already there.
Correct.
That's big enough to heat, an addition that wouldn't hurt that, you wouldn't have to do much to it, so.
Now, if we put the rescue in there, it doesn't need to be kept quite at the same temperature as.
A lot of ideas.
Yep.
So. I'm not trying to put a kibosh like that, but I like the idea of a steel building, just so if you had to move from here to here, yeah, you can't move the concrete, but at least you don't have, like, water and all that stuff in it.
Yep.
Okay, you have a pad you just left behind versus over here now you can do a build a pad with all the stuff you need to have into it,
Yep.
you know? Be done with it. So. I mean, the most we'd lose would be probably about $9,000 in a pad.
Right.
So, if it's done right, you're right, they could be utilized for something else as well.
Sure.
Basketball court.
I know that as you face the town hall, the right-hand side has got the generator, and then there's the fire department, the shed. Any concerns about expanding the fire department building closer and closer to the,
No, we're only coming over one bay.
Between that
That,
office trail and the
that
side.
generator there, if you're concerned about the generator, that's not even though it's a large size, it's not a very large generator. And the power that generator powers the fire station and the old town hall. And the old town hall does not draw a lot of current.
And that should also leave enough room for snow removal.
And actually, that cover over there in the cage is not necessary.
No, it's not.
flat roof or pitch roof?
Pitch roof,
Okay.
trusses that match up with the roof that we got now. So the trusses will come in, set on top and continue and have enough
Pitch?
snow load.
Okay.
You would just need to have the ability to have access back to access the septic and the propane tank.
But that bay wouldn't be touching any of that.
Right now, the pump, the propane, well, both the propane and the septic guy can get back in there
Yeah,
because there's
well, this-
enough,
yeah, this
there's,
is
because
only
the
coming
trailer's
over.
forward enough that he can get in there without any problem. But just be aware when you put that in there that, when you put that addition on there, that isn't gonna hinder them from getting back there. Now, you could,
Oh, we're not going over that far, like I said, we're only coming over one bay, so that we'll still have plenty of room.
okay, will the trailer be, the rescue trailer out of there, or
No, it would still,
still stay there? Just keep in mind when you, if you're gonna do that,
Always move it over.
to have access to at least the propane, although they can go on the other side and run the line. I mean, you used to run lines 100 feet, right? I mean, you can do
So
it,
the hose comes down 50 feet in the truck, so.
yeah.
I think before we do any of this, we ought to have some public hearings to let people know. I don't think we can do it at the town meeting. There's nothing that can be added now, but I'd like to let people know what we have. I like your idea of putting the police department there. It's much better visibility.
Where, at the old fire station?
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Well, you can do that building, I mean, I was originally involved with if you recall, many years ago, we were talking about the fire station. We actually had we had the highway department move the trucks out of the highway department. And we had all the fire trucks backed in. And they fit perfect. They had to make some modifications, but they fit perfect. So I understand the L concept in terms of that, but to utilize, you're gonna have to add your I like the two-story addition for the highway garage. That highway garage is in pretty good shape now. I mean, for a fire station,
Yep.
Then the board has always talked, I believe, amongst us and everything else, to get the police department out from underneath here.
Yep.
To give us the ability to move these offices and rec offices down
That way
there.
they're handicap
They would be
accessible.
handicapped accessible down below.
Right, no we're in compliance.
Right, so, and that would be more of a public place than it's not a public place right now. So if you put, like you said, John, if you put the police station where the fire station is now, clean it up, and I'm not saying it's not clean, because it does look good, but make it look like a police station. It is more, it will add to that concept that we got going here in terms of the buildings without spending more money. So your investment in the building over here will free up for a new police station over there, even though they would probably want a new one. We all want new, but you can't. So you could make that fire station pretty nice. It's one big shell.
Yeah. Yeah.
The building is sound. I mean,
Yeah.
it's been beefed up enough and fixed up enough. I can remember being in there though when the wind was blowing and you could hear it creaking. I don't know if it still creaks. I hope it doesn't creak. So that would be a nice approach, and it might be more cost effective. Might be.
There are 3 considerations right now as to why I don't think that highway department's gonna move anytime soon. First, building's in good shape now. Right? We spent some money on getting that building fixed up.
Yeah.
Second, there's no cell tower. Been waiting for a cell tower to pay for the new highway garage.
Your cell tower isn't going to come for some time, I'm afraid.
Third, we're still feeling the effects of the school.
Yep.
So, your idea, what did you say, 30,000 altogether, 20, is
34.
considerably less than $1 million for a new highway garage. That I
And-
don't think is.
And in the
coming.
future, that building could be utilized.
Yeah, and Rick would be the first to agree that their building's in pretty good shape now.
The only thing that's bad is the salt shed.
Yes.
And the only way to fix that is either build a new one or build a bigger one down here. And Rick, I'm not speaking for Rick.
Right.
It would be inconvenient. What you probably would have to do if you put the salt shed down there is light it.
Yeah.
But it would be inconvenient, but it would have, that salt shed is just deplorable. I mean, even though you fix the roof and everything else, I guess it's pretty wobbly, and they've tried to keep it there. And they're getting a load of sand every week, salt every
So
week.
small, you can't put more than a
More than a
triaxle
truckload in there. So, yeah, the building over there is it's a highway garage, and it looks like a highway garage. But it's functional, it works good,
Well, the wiring's been done.
yeah.
Didn't we put a new roof on that?
New roof,
New ceiling?
Panels.
ceilings, new walls, new
Insulation of the panels,
Yeah.
I mean, that heating system is.
weather station, we got a weather station now,
There you go.
That,
online, that's
that
pretty
heating
cool.
system's been there for like 20 some odd years, alright? And he said it never shuts off. Whether the doors are closed or open, it makes no difference.
What's that?
The furnace over there, it never shuts off. Now we garage.
Used to never shut
You
off.
never shoot like that. Now that this all buttoned up, he says it actually cycles on and off like it's supposed to. Oh. I mean that's saving energy. The new doors, the refix the doors, all of it. It's all good. So
What do you think about getting through the town meeting and then have some public hearings about just what we're talking about, which would be based on the ambulance? Okay?
Keeping,
When is the ambulance supposed to be bought?
we never really decided to buy it.
Oh, okay.
So between the money that's in the revolving account and what we have in the fund balance and stuff like that, we could actually probably pay for it. Though we'd have to take a loan or anything.
But again, I think getting the town involved with the chance to hear about all this would be good. Yes.
I'm not sure of this, but I'm pretty sure the planning board its next venture is that the master plan? Is that what you're gonna be? Okay, the master plan would be a good venue for hearings or public meetings in terms of hashing out ideas, in terms of what do they want to do? I mean, that has to be updated. That hasn't been updated since the 2008,
Something like that.
2010, somewhere around there. You're supposed to update them theoretically every 10 years. So that would be a good venue to have a master plan on your infrastructure, a master plan, what people think about the infrastructure, what the master plan on on your buildings. What do you think about that? That could be brought up in hearings. But you also could have separate hearings on those also.
Right.
But, you know, master plan is long range, just like CIP is long range looking, and can be short range also. What does the community need?
Well,
What do they need and what do they want?
we need something with that new ambulance. And pretty clear that, that ambulance is,
Well, 4 vehicles and 3 bays is not workable.
no,
No, cause, I mean,
No, you can't get in there.
this much room to try to back the thing in, right?
yeah, until you get to the mirrors, then you get no room.
Yeah.
Okay.
Alright,
Then I also got a price on, a boat as well,
okay,
for about, I think it was $4,500. That's a Zodiac, so that it has the inflatable sides.
mhm.
It's a rigid inflatable hull.
Is there,
We already have the motor, we got no boat.
You got the motor, but
We
the boat.
got a brand new motor sitting over there, but no boat.
How big is the motor?
Brand new.
How big is the motor?
in your,
Is it a 9?
9 horsepower.
Yeah.
Well, I have an aluminum boat if you need one temporarily. You can take it off my property, you
We
can
had
have
one.
it.
We don't know where the heck it went.
You just gotta get
Someone
a,
told me it went in the
Did you
yard
check?
sale.
Oh, that was the deck boat that someone donated to
this
us.
is just.
Check where they did the drawdown?
No, if you want that, you can come over and take a look at it. It's very small, but it'll handle a 9 horsepower, and it's all aluminum. The
We'll
tra-
look- I like, when I worked up at Brewster for the waterfront, we had a Zodiac.
I'm just saying an interim
Yeah.
because
Absolutely.
if I may, living on the lake, I'm very surprised that the fire department
doesn't have.
has never had a boat available, and there has been, since I've lived there, one accident that was fatal. Okay, they got there, I guess maybe they had the boat, but I think with the lake being there, even though there's a lot of resources around, having a boat that is usable by the fire department is public safety, and I think it needs to be there.
Right.
Even we haven't had any instances of Bob houses going down because we don't have that many, but
Right.
you never know.
That's why I was looking at this addition, because if we put the rescue over there, that's enough room to put a boat behind.
Mhm.
When it's not being used, you deflate the ribs, and you can put it flat up against the wall. They weigh next to nothing. You can actually, without the motor on it, 4 guys can pick up the hull and move it around.
How to fund it? Do you think you have funds in your deposit, in your, budget?
No, I wasn't planning, I didn't budget for one.
Okay.
But we can bring that up at town meeting, no, but when you go through your thing, is that, whatever. I mean,
Well,
But if I recall, looking at the budget, you were, last year's budget, you were under, like, I think 40,000, and your budget was remained about flat next year.
Well, I did,
So-
the budget did keep about flat. Some of the stuff we've got coming up for this year is I've got gear and stuff that we gotta purchase.
But I was just.
How much was it off by?
I wanna say it was maybe 30,000,
That wasn't spent?
yeah,
Okay.
I think.
I think it's important to have a
Oh.
vote.
I think that's a current one.
Should be quite close enough.
I didn't think I had that much left over.
I thought there was, but maybe there might have been some still outstanding stuff that hadn't gotten.
I don't wanna say I had about,
That mention of the guest Wi-Fi, that's for public Wi-Fi here in the.
That'd be cool.
That would be real.
About, yeah, so it said your expended year-to-date was like 38 and budget was 65. So,
what was that, is it?
this was when we were putting the budget together, so it was as of most current stuff.
The
There might
date
have
should
been
be
a
on
little
there.
bit
should be a run date from the
Well, no,
top.
I ran this as of, January 11th was the date that this was done, so, yeah, 65 versus 38, so you had still $28,000 left. Actually. So, yeah, so that's,
No.
that's last year's budget.
Fund balance,
Well,
that's where it goes.
just wait till the
Well,
wait till the town meeting like that, and they approve your budget like that, you have the money in there, because they didn't take.
Right.
No, it stayed flat, we
They
didn't.
stayed the same, they didn't
Yeah,
take
we
it
did
from
not
you, so
take-
if you had
yeah,
that much
we
left
didn't-
over, you may be able to just purchase it.
Yep.
So,
We did not remove
John, I don't think you can take it out of fund balance unless it's a warrant article.
No, I'm just saying, if it was money from last year, you can't spend it this year, it would just be collected taxes, it would, my understanding, would go into fund, that's how fund balance
Right.
kinda grows, your revenue increases more than your taxes or whatever.
I agree, I don't wanna wait another year to get a boat, should be a boat,
Yeah, we've been dodging the bullet.
yeah.
that's what this town likes to do, dodge bullets. Probably has gone from a revolver to a.
Well, the
semi-automatic.
Marine Patrol does get on there, I've seen them
Yeah,
more in the past few years, but there's more stuff going on. Particularly with the personal watercraft are really, how do I wanna say this?
Out of
They
control.
certainly are a challenge, let me put it that way. What's that, John?
They're out of control, how's that?
That's a good way to put it, yeah. And they don't follow the rules, and Marine Patrol is probably there 4 times out of the year, and they come on a Thursday, and nobody is there on a Thursday. I've seen them there on the weekends, though.
Right. Oh. But separate from all of that, it's Sunday morning and 2 of those jet skis crash into each other.
Or one does these, they're doing these and
Right.
fall off, and that's a hard hit.
Luckily with JT, it was in a cove, and it was close, so,
There you go.
but,
To say, oh, it's Sunday morning, we'll find somebody with a boat. Well, it take way too long to find somebody. Okay?
you can't depend on, most people like to help out and stuff like that, you can't.
no, and as
You
much
can't-
other bodies of water that we have around here for mutual aid.
All right.
But still,
So I'd get his aluminum boat.
Yep.
PDQ, even if you had to park it outside and put a cover on it. But
it's been sitting in my yard upside down for, probably the transom needs to be replaced, but it's still, it's a StarCraft aluminum, I think it's a 10-footer, so I mean, it's, you can have it if you want it,
Yep,
just let me know.
yep. I'll swing over, take a look at it. Thank you.
I guess let's see what happens after the meeting on 17th. Okay. Yeah, I think we need it.
Like, as far as the building and stuff like that, you don't mind getting,
No,
that's price on steel, just,
no, I'll call,
I mean,
I'll
just
call
my,
it back.
just satisfy my curiosity. Steel buildings is supposed to be pretty cheap right now, so, until they get the tariff.
Yeah, until the tariffs come.
Yeah. All right, if there is nothing else on the Joanne, new business?
How's the guest Wi-Fi gonna be an additional cost?
Just another name, username.
I have some business that I'd like to present today. We talked quite a bit before about a scholarship fund for a graduating Middleton student from Kingswood. We purchased a box. It says mail on it, but it doesn't say US mail, so we're okay on that. But I will put some kind of a cover over it so that it indicates, you know, maybe something with a picture of the school on it or whatever, so that it's for a scholarship donations. The Recreation Committee has agreed to let me use their tax ID number, and I don't know how to store the funds, what kind of an account or whatever, but I'll work with Laura and we'll figure that out. It's a lockable thing with 2 keys. So what we would do is accept donations in here, give receipts if it's a sizable amount that somebody wants a receipt for it. And then hopefully we'll get enough funds in there, even if it's $50. It'll buy somebody a book for college, or pay their gas if they're going to a trade school or, you know, something other than academic, university or something like that.
Where would you use it?
Probably make a temporary location of it for in the town hall when we have public meetings, but, located somewhere, hopefully in the town hall, I would think.
Not gonna put a wet nail in any of those walls.
No,
They'll
What about,
no.
You can't use nails, but I got a good screw gun.
No,
It would be
sir.
monitored, we would be set on a table and monitored
Holy
during meetings, and then,
Use a hand cut screw.
what about for a, on a daily basis? You have everybody in this town, everybody comes to the window to pay taxes. Well, a lot of mail goes in, but to register the car, vehicle, everybody in town. Exposed it to basically everybody in town by maybe putting it someplace in the hall. My suggestion is that window on the entrance hall, that window to the tax collector's office, it's labeled tax collector. Do they ever use it?
Randomly.
Well, there's a shelf counter there. What about right there? People come in, see it, go pay their
I
taxes.
just wanna be able to secure it so somebody can't just grab it and go out the door
Well,
with
that's
it.
the next problem. That's the next problem. I'll figure something out.
Mounting bracket or something.
Because it sits on the table. Put it on the table, honey.
I mean, you've got a base to it already, if you put a couple screws down through that and put it, you know. I mean, if they want it bad enough, they're gonna snag it, but.
A sad state of affairs, is that enough to motivate a drug person to come in and steal it at night? Right now, there's no evidence of any money out other than we have safe for the,
I would take it upon myself to empty it at least every week.
but someone breaking into here wouldn't know that. Would they break into here,
I'll
having
put
seen
a
it?
sign on it, on the side, this is empty every.
And they don't read
You
the
know,
signs.
I-
I don't know,
If you're gonna get somebody breaking in, they're gonna break in over more than just that, they're not.
I disagree. They'd break in for $3 if it would give them a fix.
Then in that case, it probably would have broken in by now. I mean,
I don't know, anybody else? Concept is great, I just don't know if leaving here is going to promote people. Right now, you don't see any money out. When the tax collector leaves, everything's locked up. It's never out, so, I don't know. What does anybody else think?
You got a good point. The other thing you do is it would just have to be emptied every night before you go. But still, the idea of people coming in here all the time, looking at it and saying what that is, I wouldn't even leave it that way. I'd lock it, put a slot in there.
It is.
Oh, it is, it's locked.
Oh,
all the
okay,
time.
I'm sorry,
Yeah.
okay, good, fine.
But what if you put it, I'm just thinking, are you thinking like because they can see into the door that it's sitting there? Or if you put it like right there, and that spot?
I think there's enough people in town that you don't know about that's on drugs that will come in and see that and they know it's there,
Really?
take a
You're saying
chance.
that to me?
Well, I
Okay,
mean, you
well,
know it,
They would be caught, because it's right on camera,
I
right
know,
there in that hallway.
but I mean, if they're desperate, they don't care about that.
Well, no, but I'm just saying.
No, but I'm
they
just
would know
saying, at
who it
least
is.
it's not right by the door, it would be in further that they
It's
actually
not
have to.
enticing.
Yes,
From the window.
yes, cause I mean, yes, you can look in the window and say, oh, there it is, it's sitting there, which, this way they'd have to actually physically get all the way in around the corner and, I don't know, I'm just saying.
Tony?
So what about, at the end of the day, the clerk,
Tax
yeah,
collector?
tax clerk,
Yeah.
bring it in the tax office, under the counter. Next day she comes in, puts it out.
Well, I don't wanna
It's not
give them more
secure.
duties than they already have, but like I said, I would be certainly,
I mean, that's gonna be
Well, we
something
can
that.
let Laura do it, she does everything.
She does everything, right?
Yeah.
Oh, and by the way, it's her birthday today, everybody
Yeah,
know
yeah,
that?
yeah.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday to you, happy birthday to you, happy birthday dear Laura, happy birthday to you.
Speech, speech,
Nice.
speech.
I tried to hide.
How old are you for the camera?
35.
23.
23. It's old on you.
well, at this point,
Idea
I
is
think
very
that-
good.
I think
It's
the,
good.
you know, this, let's worry about where to put it maybe after the town meeting, present it to the town meeting and at least get some donations. And if I have to, I'll personally carry the damn, pardon my language.
So you're on tape, no problem.
I'll carry it around with me and buttonhole people at their doorways or whatever.
Laura, make sure
I'm
that's
really-
in the record.
Okay.
I'm really
Should we
strong,
go door to door?
I'm really strong about getting some kind of a scholarship
Sure.
fund about,
Yeah.
you know, for our kids. I mean, this is our future, the future of our town.
Cool. We'll put that under public participation.
So what does the selectman think about that small duty that she does to put that out when she comes in, pick it up and put it back in her office?
I'm gonna put it back on the tax collector.
Yeah,
It's her decision because she's the one gonna be doing it. I think so, I'm not gonna make it man. I would
Well,
it's really not part of her job, so I think I'd wanna
have
confer
her.
with her first.
Sure, of course, without a doubt. Okay, we'll stop it later. We'll twist around.
That's right.
Let's get the ball rolling on it at the town meeting, let people know that it exists, and a permanent or semi-permanent location for it will be announced at some future time. Anybody got any donations other than our esteemed fire chief?
Yeah, pass it around.
I'm on a fixed income, I don't have any money.
You're in the recreation thing, you're not supposed to.
Keep that,
How much you putting in there, dear?
I put in a 50.
No, you didn't.
Yeah.
You've never seen
See,
a 50.
nobody will know.
You've never seen a 50.
I left all my
much
money in
money you
Haiti.
have.
I'm waiting to see what she puts in.
Oh, yeah.
I may not have to.
That's all I have.
What?
She's not showing you. She's not showing you.
I will tell you that I just came back from Haiti, and if anybody in this universe respects and appreciates education, it's the people of
Especially
Haiti.
Bill.
We may think we have so much that we can be proud of here in the States,
Good enough.
but I met 6- and 7-year-olds in Haiti who speak fluent Creole because that's their language of the country. They still speak French fluently, and I'm talking at age 6, and they speak passable English, and a lot of them speak Spanish, and they teach all of those at the schools.
It's because they don't have video games.
Don't they make our video games? Like, don't they?
Not in Haiti.
Yeah, not
They
me.
don't make anything in
Right.
Haiti. Well, they make a lot of things, but nobody's got any money to buy them.
Alright, any more public participation? If not, I'll take a motion that we adjourn at 8:03.
So move.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you for coming, everybody,
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Everybody go home. Right?
What's
Yep.
the batch you?
There we go.